There was a time when lunch wasn't complicated. You'd walk into a café, scan the chalkboard menu, and choose from sandwiches that had fed the nation for generations. Simple fillings between honest bread, each one carrying the weight of tradition and the promise of satisfaction. If you remember queuing for any of these 14 classics, then you were there for Britain's golden age of proper sandwiches. Don't forget to subscribe, give this video a like, and share your sandwich memories in the comments below. The Ploughman's Lunch. The Ploughman's Lunch wasn't technically a sandwich, but it was the blueprint for every great British filling that followed. Crusty bread, sharp cheddar, tangy pickle, and crisp lettuce became the foundation of countless variations. Born in country pubs, it represented honest, working-class sustenance. The combination was so perfect that variations found their way between sliced bread in offices and school canteens across Britain. This wasn't fancy food, it was real food that satisfied real hunger and became the template for what a proper British sandwich should be. Cheese and pickle. If any sandwich could claim to be Britain's national dish, it would be cheese and pickle. Sharp cheddar paired with Branston pickle created a flavor combination that was both comforting and exciting. The sweetness of the pickle balanced the saltiness of the cheese, while the chunks of vegetables added texture and tang. Every cafe had their own version, from doorstop thick slices to dainty triangles. It graced packed lunches, pub menus, and emergency midnight snacks. Simple, reliable, and utterly British, cheese and pickle became the sandwich that defined a nation's taste. Egg and cress. Delicate, refined, and quintessentially English, egg and cress represented the genteel side of British sandwich making. Hard-boiled eggs were mashed with butter and seasoned simply, then topped with fresh watercress that added a peppery bite. Often served on white bread with the crusts removed, it was a sandwich of afternoon teas and railway station buffet. The combination was subtle but satisfying, representing a more elegant approach to lunch. It was a sandwich your grandmother might serve with proper tea, demonstrating that British cuisine could be sophisticated without being showy. Bacon Butty. The bacon butty wasn't just a sandwich, it was a religion. Crispy or chewy bacon between buttered bread became the universal cure for hangovers, long days, and general life dissatisfaction. The key was timing. The bacon had to be hot enough to slightly melt the butter, creating that perfect marriage of fat, salt, and carbohydrate. Whether it was back bacon in the south or streaky bacon up north, the debate was fierce but the love was universal. Add brown sauce or red sauce according to regional preference, but never question the power of properly cooked bacon between bread. Fish finger sandwich. What started as nursery food became a guilty pleasure for adults nationwide. Fish fingers, straight from the freezer to the grill, nestled between buttered bread with a squeeze of tomato sauce. It was comfort food at its most basic, representing childhood security in edible form. The contrast between the crispy coating and flaky fish, softened by warm bread and tangy sauce, created unexpected sophistication. This wasn't restaurant food, but it didn't need to be. The fish finger sandwich proved that the best British food often came from the most humble ingredients, prepared with love rather than pretension. Chip Butty. The chip butty represented pure indulgence wrapped in working-class practicality. Hot chips, preferably from the local chippy, between buttered bread created a carbohydrate explosion that somehow felt nutritionally complete. The key was timing. The chips had to be hot enough to steam the bread slightly, while the butter provided richness against the potatoes' earthiness. Regional variations included the addition of gravy, curry sauce, or mushy peas, but purists insisted that proper chips and bread were perfect on their own. It was fast food before fast food existed, satisfying hunger with honest ingredients. Corned beef and tomato. Tinned corned beef might not sound glamorous, but paired with fresh tomatoes and good bread, it became a British staple. The salty, dense meat contrasted beautifully with the juicy acidity of ripe tomatoes, creating a sandwich that was both hearty and refreshing. Often served with crisp lettuce and a touch of mustard, it graced pub menus and packed lunches across the country. The combination represented British pragmatism, taking a preserved meat and elevating it with fresh ingredients. It wasn't sophisticated, but it was satisfying, nutritious, and utterly reliable when you needed proper sustenance. Cucumber sandwiches. The cucumber sandwich represented British refinement in its purest form. Paper-thin slices of cucumber between crustless white bread, lightly buttered and carefully seasoned with salt and white pepper. It was a sandwich of garden parties, afternoon teas, and genteel gatherings. Critics called it insubstantial, but that missed the point entirely. The cucumber sandwich wasn't about filling you up, it was about elegance, tradition, and the peculiarly British art of making something beautiful from almost nothing. It proved that sometimes the most sophisticated food was also the most simple. Spam fritter sandwich. The spam fritter sandwich was pub grub at its most honest. Thick slices of spam, battered and deep-fried until golden, then wedged between crusty bread with a generous helping of mushy peas. It was indulgent, messy, and completely unapologetic about its working-class roots. The crispy batter gave way to salty meat, while the peas added color, nutrition, and a touch of sweetness. This wasn't health food, but it was soul food, the kind of meal that sustained factory workers and satisfied late-night cravings. It represented British food culture's ability to transform humble ingredients into something deeply satisfying. Roast beef and horseradish. Sunday roast leftovers became Monday's luxury with the roast beef and horseradish sandwich. Thick slices of beef, preferably still pink in the middle, paired with fiery horseradish sauce that cleared your sinuses and awakened your palate. The combination was sophisticated yet comforting, representing the best of British meat cookery between bread. Good versions included crisp lettuce and ripe tomatoes, but the essential pairing was beef and horseradish. It was a sandwich that proved leftovers could be better than the original meal, transforming Sunday's centerpiece into Monday's masterpiece. Marmite Soldiers. Marmite on buttered toast, cut into soldiers for dipping into soft-boiled eggs, represented childhood comfort food at its most British. The intensely savory yeast extract divided opinion nationally. You either loved it or loathed it, but for devotees, it was liquid gold. The combination of butter, Marmite, and soft egg created umami overload in the best possible way. It wasn't technically a sandwich, but it occupied the same cultural space, providing quick, satisfying sustenance with distinctly British flavors. The ritual of dipping soldiers into runny yolk became a national pastime, passed down through generations. Jam and butter. Sometimes called a jam butty, this simple combination represented childhood innocence and maternal care. Good bread, proper butter, and homemade jam, preferably strawberry or raspberry, created sweetness that satisfied both hunger and emotional need. The quality of ingredients mattered enormously. Cheap jam on margarine couldn't compare to the real thing. It was a sandwich of school lunchboxes, afternoon treats, and emergency comfort food. Critics dismissed it as too simple, but that simplicity was its strength. When life got complicated, jam and butter on good bread provided uncomplicated pleasure and reassurance. Sardines on toast. Tin sardines on buttered toast represented nutritious convenience food decades before the term existed. The oily fish provided protein and omega-3 fatty acids, while the toast gave substance and satisfaction. Often enhanced with a squeeze of lemon juice and freshly ground black pepper, it was simple food that happened to be incredibly healthy. The combination appeared on café menus, in bedsits, and as quick suppers across Britain. It proved that good nutrition didn't require expensive ingredients or complex preparation, just quality fish, good bread, and proper technique. The sardines on toast was humble food that punched above its weight nutritionally. Welsh Rabbit. Welsh Rabbit elevated cheese on toast into something approaching haute cuisine. A rich mixture of cheese, beer, and seasonings, grilled until golden and bubbling, created depth and sophistication that simple cheese couldn't match. The beer added complexity, while mustard provided heat and the cheese gave richness. Proper rabbit required good cheese, preferably a strong cheddar, and careful attention to prevent burning. It was comfort food with pretensions, representing the British ability to take humble ingredients and transform them through technique and tradition. The result was far greater than the sum of its parts, proving that sophisticated food could emerge from the simplest beginnings. These sandwiches weren't just food, they were culture between slices of bread. Each one told a story about Britain, our pragmatism, our love of tradition, and our ability to find satisfaction in simple pleasures. They fed workers, comforted children, and sustained the nation through good times and bad. If any of these brought back memories of proper cafes, packed lunches, or late-night comfort, subscribe and like this video for more delicious slices of British culinary history.